Yo, what's up, guys? It's your boy Looney, and I think every investor goes through it. That moment where you look at your account and realize you've lost money. Maybe it was a bad trade, maybe it was FOMO, maybe you just bought too high. It sucks, it's humbling, and honestly, it's part of the game. But here's the thing, losing money doesn't end your journey. It actually can rebuild your foundation if you handle it right. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I rebuild after taking losses, step by step. Now, before we get into this video, quick shout out to the Discord. It is free to join, and I also offer a premium membership, which gives you access to one-on-one coaching, trade callouts. I have an option selling course. I do giveaways and more. You can check it out. All the links are in the description. Now, the first step is simple but brutal, and that is to just accept it. Now, there's a lot of decisions or there's a lot of options I can choose here with, you could see some positions that are in the red, a lot of crypto, and I have an open stock. Let's choose open. It's a very volatile stock. It's a very FOMO driven stock, hype driven. So once you accept it, you don't hide from your losses. You don't refresh your portfolio every 10 minutes, hoping it changes. Look at what went wrong, but without the emotion. Did you size too big? Did you chase momentum? Or did you just ignore your plan? You can't rebuild from denial. Owning the loss is how you stop repeating it. Now, after a big loss, I always pause and I stop trading aggressively. I stop chasing setups, because usually that kills trades after losing money isn't the loss. It's the revenge trading that follows. Because once you take a breath and you decide to revenge trade, that's when you kind of go all in on the other side, or you sort of try to make it back what you just lost. And that is very detrimental, and that's what kills traders. Instead, take a breath, sit in cash for a bit, and just watch the market without feeling the need to act. And that space gives you clarity. You'll need that before the rebuild. So when I rebuild, I start small. Let's actually go back to that open position, and we can look at another stock or another position where I use option trading. But you can see here, I didn't necessarily buy the top, but I did make a purchase when the stock was trading in the high 9s, high 10s. And you could see that I'm actually down pretty significant, down 7%. And when it started to reverse, let's actually look at the 3-month chart, because it did shoot up a ton. It was down here, and then I sort of bought at basically the top, these $10 ones, the $10 mark. And what I did is I just sat there and paused. I waited for this dip. And this initial dip when I lost, or even here, when I went down to 7, I just sat there, let things run, let things ride. And then once I realized where the stock is actually carrying support, I decided to resize back in small. So we can look down here. I am still buying, and I sold a call recently, and I sold a put. So that's pretty interesting, but I'm also buying small amounts. So I'm dollar cost averaging in stocks into open, and I'm making sure I'm doing it below my average cost. So you can see here below $7, even below $8 is when I start to make those purchases, and I'm not aggressive. I'm not going all in. These are small purchases. The position itself, open, isn't a big position in my portfolio. It's only 2.6%. So keep that in mind. I am position sizing, and I'm position sizing with strategy because I've learned from my mistakes. I've realized that if you size too big and you lose, that is very detrimental to your portfolio. And I wanted to use open because it is a very hype driven, and I'm sure a lot of people are in a position where they sort of bought the top. Same with Beyond. Beyond is a very hype driven stock, and it's not really for beginners. I was able to get in at the $1 mark, and I didn't make a purchase since. I haven't sold, and the reason I haven't sold is because I have some covered calls on it. So I can't really sell. Those covered calls are really wacky because of how volatile this stock is, but I'm just going to let it ride. If it goes down further, that's fine. It's only 1% of my portfolio, not even 1%. So I am using small positions, simple strategies. Another way that I'm actually handling a losing trade is with selling options. Same idea. I am able to manage them by dollar cost averaging. So let's look at Webull. Webull is a stock that is struggling right now. The past month, it's down 16%. I sold a put on its initial drawdown. I got notified on some indicator that I've set up, and then I sold a put at $12. And you can see now it is in the money, which is not really good with selling puts, but I'm okay with it because when I first set up this trade, I was okay with buying Webull at $12. Even if it goes down to $8, $6, I'm okay with owning it at 12. Now, it's unfortunate if I go in the negatives, but it is part of investing. And to combat this, I waited for more downturn, and then I sold a $10 put. And you can see that I'm able to manage this position and deal with a losing trade. So even if Webull goes down to 10, I'll have to acquire those shares. And instead of being my average cost of 12, it's going to be somewhere in between 10 and 12. Sometimes Robinhood factors in your premiums, so it's not going to be 11 exactly. But that is worth noting that you're able to manage these by not trading with emotions. I'm not trying to revenge trade. I'm not going all in with buying calls or buying puts. I'm just simply being strategic, waiting for that opportunity. And these are very small, simple strategies. These aren't ones that are all in, because you don't need to make everything back overnight. That mindset just digs the hole deeper. And I kind of look at like physical therapy. It's slow, it's controlled movements that get your strength back. So this is where I ask myself, what do I actually want to own, or what do I actually want my portfolio to do? And recently I have covered calls going on that are in the money, and what I had to do is roll them for debits, and they got very expensive. For example, like Riot. Riot's a stock that I own. It's one of my biggest positions, and a lot of my covered calls are in the money right now, but even more, I had almost all my shares locked up in covered calls. And that's not a good strategy. I got a little too greedy, and unfortunately, I'm paying the price by rolling them, and I've had to pay quite a lot. So I really reassessed what I want my portfolio to do, what I want my Riot position to do, and I've sort of been more strategic. I bought back some of my calls. I've let some of my shares be uncovered, and at the same time, I am bullish on Riot, so I even opened up a few small positions on bullish strategies. And I emphasize the small because I'm not going all in. I'm not trying to revenge trade. I'm doing these on red days and just doing them when I'm looking at the technicals. I'm not really trading based on emotions. So I have some debit spreads, some credit spreads, just so I can actually catch that upside, because with cover calls, you are protected to the downside a little bit, but it is a neutral to bullish strategy. Unfortunately, when they're in the money, it's no longer a bullish strategy. So that's why I want to at least catch the bullish trend. So I am mixing in these strategies as well. So yeah, I really reassessed what I want Riot to do, what I feel comfortable holding Riot for. And I do like Riot long term. There's a chance I do take profit. I don't know if I want to sell off all my shares. And the reason behind it is because I am really exposed to crypto. Riot is a crypto-based stock. I know that they might go into the data centers, or a few other stocks have done that, like Iron, and I think Cypher might be another one. But I don't think I'm going to sell all my shares. I'll probably take some profits just to keep that, just to play with my emotions, or at least give me some comfort so I could have some cash in case we do see a bear market. So the market changes, right? But so do you. And that's what I'm looking at. Am I trading for income, or am I investing for growth? What was my risk tolerance before, and does it still make sense? And I am still overall, I could take high risk tolerance. So I'm okay with these volatile moves. Riot in particular is a very volatile stock. It drops 10% some days, and it increases 10% some days. So again, the market changes. So I also try to change with it. And losses actually force you to see your blind spots and to use that as data, not drama. Me, myself, I've realized that I got greed got in the way, and I sold covered calls at strike prices that were too close to the money, and just overall selling covered calls on all my shares was not a good strategy. Now I'm being a little bit more strategic, and I'm gonna go back to Riot just because we've been talking about it for a bit. Those $16 calls, I'm still managing, but I also opened up a $35 call and a $40 call. So I'm being strategic with the strike prices, and I'm comfortable selling at these prices. So that's why I have it set there, and I really reassessed my original strategy. So I'm going to look at my portfolio on the 1-year chart because you can see despite all these losses, I've been able to stay above 44%. So you can see I'm not letting these losses get in the way of things. And the final step is rebuilding confidence. And that's not from profits, but it's from process. Each good decision you make after a loss, even smaller ones, rebuilds trust in yourself. And that's what actually lasts, because once you know you can recover, fear loses its power. And if we look at my options, I was a little bit more strategic these past week. I'm actually up 10%. And you can see these aren't massive gains. These are slow and steady positions on Riot, SoFi, Zeta. I have a leveraged Tesla ETF position open, and these are all from selling puts, or most of them are from selling puts. A few of them might be from covered calls. But you can see I'm not going for those home runs. So the lesson here is everyone takes losses. The difference is what you do next. And that is don't chase, don't panic, rebuild with intention. Because every loss, if you handle it right, becomes the reason you level up. Until next time, peace.